Nelson Mandela, political leader and philanthropist who served as the first president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He is widely recognized for his contributions to the fight against racial segregation and discrimination in South Africa, and he was also honored with the Nobel Peace Prize for his work. Mandela was born into a royal family in a small village called Kunu in South Africa on July 18, 1918. His father was a chief in the Thembu royal family, and his mother was a local village leader. Despite being born into royalty, Mandela's early life was marked by hardship and tragedy. When he was just 9 years old, his father died, and his mother had to move the family to another village where she remarried. This made Mandela and his siblings become outcasts in their own clan, and they struggled to make ends meet. In spite of these difficulties, Mandela excelled in school and eventually earned a scholarship to study at the University of Fort Hare. It was here that he became involved in politics and joined the African National Congress, or ANC, in 1944. At this point in his life, Mandela had not yet decided on what career path he wanted to take. But after meeting Walter Sisulu, a veteran anti-apartheid activist, he decided to dedicate himself fully to fighting for racial equality in South Africa. Mandela initially tried to fight against apartheid through non-violent means, organizing protests and strikes against the discriminatory laws and policies of the South African government. However, as the government's oppression of black South Africans intensified, Mandela and other ANC leaders began to consider more radical forms of resistance. In 1961, Mandela co-founded Umkhonto we Sizwe, a militant wing of the ANC that carried out acts of sabotage against government installations. This decision to embrace violence was a controversial one, and it caused a rift between Mandela and some of his former allies, including Chief Albert Luthuli, who went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize in 1960 for his nonviolent resistance to apartheid. In 1962, Mandela was arrested for his involvement in Umkhonto we Sizwe and sentenced to 5 years in prison. During his trial, he delivered an iconic speech in which he defended his actions and declared, "I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." After his release from prison, Mandela went into exile in Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Zambia. While in exile, he continued to lead the ANC and plan for the overthrow of the apartheid regime. In 1990, after serving 27 years in prison, Mandela was finally released. His release was a major victory for the anti-apartheid movement, and it paved the way for the dismantling of apartheid and the first multiracial elections in South Africa's history. During the transition to democracy, Mandela played a key role in negotiations with the government to ensure a peaceful resolution. He was instrumental in drafting the new constitution and in establishing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which investigated and publicized the abuses of the apartheid era. In 1993, Mandela and South Africa's President F.W. de Klerk were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for their work in ending apartheid. In the first post-apartheid elections held in 1994, Mandela's ANC won a majority of the votes, and he was elected as South Africa's first black president. As president, Mandela wasted no time in implementing his agenda for reform. One of his first acts was to establish the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which was tasked with uncovering the abuses of the apartheid regime and providing a platform for victims to share their stories. Mandela believed that this was an essential step towards healing the deep racial wounds of the past and building a new South Africa based on justice and equality. Another key priority for Mandela was the establishment of the Commission for Gender Equality, which aimed to promote gender equality and protect the rights of women. Mandela was a strong advocate for gender equality, and he recognized the need to address the legacy of gender-based violence and discrimination that had been perpetuated under the apartheid regime. In addition to his domestic agenda, Mandela also played an important role on the international stage. He was a vocal critic of the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territory, and he called for an end to the conflict in the Middle East. Mandela also worked to strengthen South Africa's ties with other countries in Africa, and he played a key role in mediating conflicts in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Burundi. Despite his many accomplishments, Mandela's presidency was not without its challenges. One of the most significant was the ongoing conflict in the country's largest province, KwaZulu-Natal. The conflict between the Zulu Nationalist Inkatha Freedom Party and the ANC's allies resulted in thousands of deaths and destabilized the region. Mandela worked tirelessly to broker a peace deal between the warring factions, but it was not until late 1996 that a ceasefire was finally agreed upon. Another challenge for Mandela was the issue of land reform. The legacy of apartheid had left black South Africans with very little access to land, and Mandela promised to address this injustice. However, he faced opposition from white South Africans who feared that land reform would result in the redistribution of wealth. Mandela ultimately decided to pursue a gradual approach to land reform, which involved the purchase of land by the government for redistribution to black South Africans. Perhaps the most contentious issue during Mandela's presidency was the debate over the national flag. The old flag of apartheid had been replaced with a new flag featuring the colors black, yellow, green, and white. But many people felt that it did not adequately represent the diversity of South Africa's population. In 1997, Mandela appointed a commission to design a new flag that would be a true symbol of unity and reconciliation. The resulting flag, known as the Rainbow Nation flag, featured 6 colors that were meant to represent the different ethnic groups of South Africa. This flag remains the country's national flag today. In 1999, after serving one term as president, Mandela stepped down and retired from public life. He continued to be active in the fight against poverty and disease, and he also played a key role in the successful campaign to host the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa. In his later years, Mandela's health began to decline, and he suffered from various ailments, including prostate cancer and respiratory problems. He spent much of his time at his rural home in Kunu, surrounded by his family and friends. On December 5, 2013, at the age of 95, Mandela passed away at his home in Houghton, Johannesburg. His death was a national and international tragedy, and he was mourned by millions of people around the world. Nelson Mandela's legacy continues to inspire people around the world to fight for justice, equality, and human rights. He is remembered as a visionary leader, a tireless advocate for social justice, and a symbol of hope and inspiration for people around the world. His impact on the world is immeasurable, and his contributions to the fight against racism and discrimination will never be forgotten. Today, Mandela's birthday is celebrated as a public holiday in South Africa and around the world. People come together to honor his memory and to reflect on his contributions to the struggle for equality and freedom. If you enjoyed this video, please like it so that you can see more videos like this in your feed. Thanks for watching.